Assalamu alaikum. Let us begin to read. Let us begin to read the Lord's Prayer. This is the second video of this lesson. So let us read together. I would request all the students to have the textbook and open page number 14, Flamingo textbook. Yes, I'm just here to adjust the camera. Okay. I have already explained you till 4th paragraph. This is the 5th paragraph. Okay, let's read together. Why aren't you wearing chappal? I asked one. So the writer asked, Anish Jung asked a question to that Shahyar, one of the boys, why he was not wearing chappal. And what did he answer? My mother didn't bring them down from the shelf. See, you feel shy to hide the reality. So my mother did not bring them down from the shelf. He answers simply. Even if she did, he will throw them off, adds another. So there is a group of boys and they are talking with the writer. And what did he say? One more boy say, even if she did, he will throw them off. Add another, who is wearing shoes that do not match. He is there wearing different shoes, means they are not matching. One is Japanese, one is Indian. He is wearing shoes like this. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. When the writer comments on his shoes, he shuffles his, he keep on moving his shoes in order to not to be shown. I want shoes, says third boy, who has never owned a pair all his life. The third boy who is dreaming of wearing shoes, who had never got shoes in his entire life, traveling across the country. I have seen children walking barefoot. The writer is saying that I have seen children walking barefoot. They don't have chappals or shoes in cities or in village road. It's not lack of money, but tradition to stay barefoot. It's not because of lack of money, but they have tradition. Tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual state of means permanent poverty. So let me explain in a nutshell. Very easy to understand, only to explain it even. You are the student of 12th standard, but still. Another boy was wearing a different shoes in each foot. Said that even if his mother would have given him the footwear or the chappal, he would have thrown it away. He meant that the boy was not wearing footwear because he did not want to wear one. The writer asked the second boy the reason for wearing a different shoes in each foot. He didn't reply and shuffled his feet as he tried to hide the shoes. Third boy spoke that he was eager to get a pair of shoes as he had never owned one all his life. The writer takes the example of shoes to highlight the condition of these boys. They search the garbage dumps looking for such precious things. She further tells us that as he traveled across the country, he had seen many children walking barefoot in the cities as well as the villages. The reason that they were barefoot not due to lack of money to buy footwear, but being a barefoot was a tradition for them. The writer wondered and concluded that the reason of it being a tradition was mere excuse to hide the fact that they were so poor that they could not afford to buy footwear. This is the explanation. Let us begin to read the sixth paragraph of this lesson. I hope you have understood it. Just a moment. The camera is there disturbing us. Okay. I remember a story of a man from Udepi once told me. I remember a story a man from Udepi once told me. The writer is there now telling is about the story narrated to him. Udepi is somewhere in Hyderabad, I think. Let's see. No, no, not in Hyderabad, but in Karnataka. I am a story a man from Udepi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple. So there was one young boy who was there going to temple, near to temple, where his father was a priest. His father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. He would pray to goddess over there for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple, which was now drowned in an air of desolation, destruction, desolation. The temple is now sunk into the water. And it was there in the condition of destruction. In the backyard where lived the new priest. The new priest was there. Because he visited very long before. Okay. There were red and white plastic chairs. Young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting, and threw his school bag on a folding bed. One boy, he came just fast and threw his bag over there. Looking at the boy, I remember the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. The goddess had granted his prayer. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes, but many others like the rag pickers in my neighborhood remained shoeless. No need to explain it again because it is very easy to understand, but still. When he was a young boy, the writer narrated a story told to her by a man from Udepi. Udepi is a town in Karnataka. When he was a young boy, he would walk to his school. When he was a young boy, he would walk to his school. On the way, he would cross a temple where his father worked as a priest. He would stop at the temple and pray to God to bless him with a pair of shoes. That man. After 30 years, the writer visited the town and the temple. Now the place was nearly empty. The new priest lived in the backyard of the temple. Plastic chairs in red and white color were kept there. A young boy came running. He was wearing a grey color school uniform, socks and shoes. He had a school bag hung on his shoulder. He threw it on bed and ran away. The writer wants to say that the financial position of the priest at the temple had improved over the last 30 years. Now he could afford shoes for his children. She was reminded of another boy who got a pair of shoes. He prayed to goddess that he may never lose the shoes that he had got it. The goddess had granted his prayer as the boy never lost his footwear. This shows that the underprivileged value anything that they get because they have been longing for it. Let's begin to read. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers led me to Simapuri. Yes, he visited the Simapuri because he was there in touch. He had a good very acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers, group of boys. So that led her to Simapuri, a place in the periphery border. Periphery means border. That place is at the border of Delhi, yet miles away from it. Though it is very far away from Delhi, it was at the border of Delhi, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it, metaphorically, symbolically. Metaphorically, symbolically. Those who live here are squatters. Squatter means those who occupied the land which is just lying over there and make their houses. They are called squatters. Right? Who came from Bangladesh? Squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Yes. Sahib's family is among them. Sai Alam family is also among them. Yes. Simapuri was then a wilderness. It was a wilderness, but gradually now it became a slum area. It still is, but is no longer empty. It is full of people. In structure of mud, with roofs of tin. Now how their houses are made of? Let's see. Its structure of mud. Their houses are made of mud. With roofs of tin, they had a roof of tin and tarpaulin. Yes, tarpaulin devoid of sewage. They don't have any sewage system, drainage or running water. Live 10,000 rag pickers. 10,000 rag pickers are there living. The writer described the area where these rag pickers boys live. Simapuri, located on the outskirts of Delhi, was very different from the capital of the country. In 1971, when these rag pickers had migrated from Bangladesh, the area had been a wasteland. Simapuri was still a wasteland, but now it was not empty, as almost 10,000 rag pickers live there in a structure made of mud with roofs made of thin sheets of tin or plastic material called tarpaulin. There was no sewage, drainage or running water facility in Simapuri. They live in unhygienic condition. It was a piece of wasteland where the garbage of the city was collected. These people have started living there illegally. So let me explain the 8th paragraph. They have lived here for more than 30 years without identity. They don't have any identity card, without permits, but with ration card. They have ration cards that get their names on voters list and enable them to buy grain. So yeah, once they have got ration card that help them to cast vote. Food is more important for survival than identity. Yes, for them. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the field that gave us no grain, says a group of women in tattered saris when I asked them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers. The writer asked the question, why did they leave beautiful green fields in Bangladesh? So they says that instead of living in the green fields of Bangladesh, where there is no any food, where there is a shortage of food, it is better to live in India and Delhi. At least they would be able to survive on such garbage, and by this way they would earn money and they will be able to live their life. So this is the condition, this is the deteriorated condition of the people living in Simapuri. The rag pickers had been living illegally in Simapuri for the last 30 years. They have occupied the area without government permission or ownership. The politicians of the area have provided them ration cards and voters' identity cards. They got grocery for their family through this ration card, and in turn they cast their votes in favor of this politician who had helped them. The writer asked a group of women who were wearing torn saris that why did they leave their homes in Dhaka. They replied that if they were able to satisfy the hunger of the families and sleep well at night, they were happier to live in Simapuri than the green fields in Dhaka, which were ruined and gave them no food. Wherever they find food, they pitch their tents, and that becomes transit homes. Yes, transit means temporary homes. Children grow up in them, becoming partner in survival, and survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Though years it has acquired the proportion of fine arts, garbage to them is a gold. It is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking a roof, but for a child it is even more. Let me explain in a nutshell, then we'll finish. These people travel in search of food, and wherever they found it, they set up temporary homes and started living there. The children kept on growing there, and gradually they also started helping their parents in seeking means of survival. For those who live in Simapuri, the means of survival was rag picking. As they had been doing it for many years, they became trained in rag picking and did it well. For the rag pickers, the garbage was as precious as gold. These families searched for the garbage dumps and got things which they sold for fun for their food. They gathered torn or damaged seeds which were used to cover the roof of their homes. This did not cover them well, but still provided them with some protection. For the children, the garbage dumps were more than a means of survival. If you have any query, feel free to ask me on my WhatsApp number 7383759748. We'll begin the third video of this lesson, inshallah, from here, from page number 16. Meanwhile, Allah Hafiz. I would request I request all the students to go through the lesson. Please, this is very important lesson. It has to, because why I am saying this lesson is so important, because child labor is one of the burning problem of our country. Children are being exploited in a large proportion in our country, right? Instead of sending them to school, they are being exploited. They are hired at tea stall, they are hired in factory, because so this is one of the burning problem of our country. So it is very important to read this lesson and to understand the lesson thoroughly. Meanwhile, Allah Hafiz.